The DFL and GOP caucuses are just over 2 weeks away. Those caucuses begin the selection process for political nominees. In a GOP party straw poll in December, Kendall Qualls finished first, with Speaker Demuth finishing second, Mike Lindell third, and Attorney Chris Madel fourth. Since then, in straw polls in Goodhue, Scott, and Carleton counties, Madel has been surging, finishing second in all three. Madel has also made news recently for offering legal advice to the ICE agent Jonathan Ross, the agent who shot and killed Renee Good. Joining me right now is Chris Madel. We want to focus on the gubernatorial race, but I do want to ask you, are you representing Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent?
So federal law provides that U.S. Department of Justice represent federal agents in connection with criminal cases if they file a form. I helped him fill out a form. I connect people with lawyers all the time. I've done 3 this morning.
But you met with him.
I did meet with him, and if he is charged, I fully expect he's going to be represented by the United States Department of Justice and not any private attorney.
Okay. Any assessment or any take of yours on the actual shooting itself? You've seen the video?
I run into the exact same thing as I did when I represented Trooper Ryan Lonergan on this thing. There's a presumption of innocence in this country, and I really don't think that it's wise for us to comment on pending cases like this and coming out one way or another until all the evidence comes out.
Okay. All right, and Trooper Lonergan was charged, but you were able to successfully get him
He was
off.
charged with murder, manslaughter, and felony assault, and initially a lot of people came out and said, oh my goodness, he's guilty, and then all those charges were dismissed when all the evidence came out, and that's what I think our system is about. We need to really be sacrosanct with respect to that presumption of innocence, and we're not doing that a lot.
All right. I want to ask you, you have been surging in some of these polls. They're small polls, but they are significant. Will you honor the party nomination, or the party endorsement, excuse me, which happens in May? The party convention happens in May, then there's the primary.
No.
You will not?
No, and I won't, because, you know, let's be honest here, the Republican Party has not done a very good job of choosing successful candidates for the last 20 years statewide.
Well, they haven't won for 20 years statewide.
You just made my point.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you, you obviously have been able to appeal to those people as you make these pitches. What do you think it is that people are connecting with you, because you have had some success here in a process that's not easy?
I've been living my entire adult life by politicians saying that they want to do something for the middle class, and I've never seen anybody do jack about it, and I actually want to do something about that. I'm not an establishment guy. I'm not a perennial candidate. I'm not running over and over again. I'm actually just wanting to actually speak what I believe to be the truth and try to actually help people rather than just do all this kind of harmful rhetoric over and over again.
All right. Let me ask you about some of the specific things where you would, quote, be doing jack for the middle class,
Okay.
I presume.
All right.
One of them is that you would eliminate state income taxes on the first $75,000 of income.
Yes.
And then you would also freeze property taxes for anyone who is 65 or over. People who are 65 or over vote a lot. Let me ask you, is this just kind of convenient stuff that's not going to balance out in the long run?
No, this is exactly what I'm talking about with respect to actually helping people. And I've actually looked at the numbers on this. We're talking about $4 to $6 billion a year. We're talking about fraud being about $9 billion right now. This is not political. This is actually trying to actually help people. Right now, people are making choices between childcare and housing. Taxes are a given. We can't do this anymore in Minnesota, and we keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And I wish just people would stop doing that. I feel the same thing is true here with this ICE right now. I feel like we are constantly putting Minnesota and becoming this national circus instead of actually leading. Our leaders right now are acting like a bunch of children.
Well, which leaders are acting like a bunch of children?
Walls, Fry. Yesterday,
well, how about President Trump?
Right. I have had numerous times where you and I have talked about this, where I've been in front of judges that I didn't particularly think had the best interests of my client.
But is President Trump acting like a child?
I can't go out into the hallway and then tweet about how horrible the judge is. I have to actually deal with the judge. I don't say we should resist people. I don't say that we should go out and actually encourage the police to fight federal law enforcement, and that's exactly what they're doing. What they need
I do not. No political leader has urged fighting federal law enforcement.
Jacob Fry said that he has received requests from citizens to have the police fight federal law enforcement. What do you think that tells citizens with respect to
He
what
is
he
not
says?
urging them. I mean, I've covered him extensively. He is not urging
Esme,
citizens.
let's look at reality here. When a leader says that, they're implicitly encouraging people to say that. They need to, hold on, they need to de-escalate this thing. We need to take tensions down, not up.
I think people agree with that, but I have not heard Jacob Fry say that he is encouraging people to actually go fight. What he said was he's gotten that thing, so I think we have to leave it at there.
When you say that publicly, it's not wise for leaders to be saying that sort of thing publicly, just like saying it's a good idea to resist federal law enforcement. If you or I did that if you or I did that with respect to an IRS agent.
I have to listen to the time cues here, so I apologize, but it's good to have you on. You obviously are making some headway in the race for governor, and we appreciate it. Obviously, we'll see you some more, and I hope you'll be able to come back on.
I would love to come back on.
Okay, great.